Now we have Mr. Jim Brooks, the Executive Director of the Evermore CID, and we have also Chairman Chris Garner with us tonight. Thank you for being here, Mr. Garner.
Madam Mayor, members of council, thank you so much for. Boy, did y'all have that planned or what? Thank you so much for giving me the coaching, sir. I appreciate it very much. You all will notice that Burlington opened at the end of last week, and we have early reports that the business there has been moving along very briskly. We're very pleased with that because with the redevelopment that's taking place in the area, we're finding fewer and fewer vacant buildings along the corridor itself. Councilmember Kraus had mentioned to me, do we have a list of properties that are within the city that are currently vacant? And the answer is no, because when people allow us the opportunity to know what's vacant, who to contact, we put it on our website. I've told Councilmember Kraus that we'd be glad to share everything that we have on that. We will be getting an intern very shortly to conduct a complete and thorough vacancy and for sale and for lease properties. We do not have such a list today that's comprehensive enough that I would rely on. I almost feel like I'm your representative at ARC from time to time, but you all need to know that there's a call coming out for projects in November. If you don't have that, if the city manager asks me, I'll be happy to forward to them that call for the specifics of the call for projects. It is critical that you get these projects in, even if you're not ready to move forward, because this is for 2014 funding. So I felt like you needed to be aware of that. Something else we've talked about, the A to A corridor. They are in the process of finding funding through NHPP. They are working on that project now. There's also a roadway operations funding that will be on the freight side of this, where there's some funding that can improve, particularly the Highway 78 and inside the city, but it is not in the corridor. We will be working on the corridor side, but if the city is interested, that may be a potential funding source. CMAQ as well, and that's basically environmental, what your carbon footprint looks like, and if you demonstrate what that looks like, there's some additional funding that can be gathered from ARC there, but that's the type of call that they're making for, Butch. We've talked about the opportunity zones, and some have asked me how that is proceeding. I can tell you it is proceeding quickly. I made a call to Brian Lackey today, who is the head of the planning for the county. They're making all of the traffic information available to the consultant, Blakely and Associates. That process is moving along very quickly. I understand from Eric Von Otteren that you all may have a question about what the necessity is on making the application for getting your URP or whatever it is submitted. What you all do will only affect the city of Snellville. The areas that you all have identified as a opportunity zone will only be improved or enhanced in order to move that process forward. But in order to establish an opportunity zone, you have to have this resolution in place. We are working to put ours in place. We have not set any location for an opportunity zone inside the city. You all are handling that yourself. So if you elect not to do it, the supporting data will be done as a matter of course in our study. You all will be submitting your own application, and you will in no way inhibit the unincorporated area or the CID. We're going to have the data, and how you all decide to proceed will be a decision made by the mayor and council. Hope that clarified that point. On the Britt High Point old US 78, that is the connector that runs from Britt across High Point into our proposed realignment road. We have secured 100% of the funding, a little over $1 million for that project. So that project is going to be let fairly quickly. That will connect those two pieces of our collector road system, excuse me. On Walton Court realignment, right away is currently in the process of being appraised. As soon as those appraisals are in, then we'll move toward actual purchase of that property. We have about 4 different property owners that own 6 parcels that affect. We should be able to move through that process fairly quickly. Our Hewitt to Britt, which is the ongoing about a $8 or $10 million road project, we are waiting. We're in the 30-day window to get our notice of approved environmentals on that, and shortly after that we'll have our preliminary field plan review, which means we're right at the time that we begin to acquire right away in that project as well. We had an opportunity to spend a little time looking at some modeling, some traffic modeling, and at some point I'd like to go into some detail, but probably with you, that looks at traffic flow and looks at what traffic increases, once we get over this 10% unemployment, and we will get over that, you're going to see a 10 or 15% increase in traffic out here. So there's some modeling that takes place, and we have access to that, and we would certainly make that available for discussion with you all. As a matter of course, it's always important for me to say again what we've all heard before, and that is that the CID in July the 12th, we met with several members of council, and on August the 22nd, we met with several members of council. In a work session on September the 10th, we met and we discussed the expansion of the CID. I know you all have some sort of consideration for a work session, and if there's anything in advance of that work session that we can do to provide you any background information or other necessary information, we'd be happy to do that. With that, Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Any questions for Mr. Brooks?
Mayor, I don't have a question. Mr. Brooks, I do appreciate all the reports you give us, and seldom someone, for me at least, to thank you publicly about all the work. Let me tell you briefly, my sons they go to school outside of Snellville since we don't have a university here. When I visit with them, especially last weekend, the roads that I was taking had construction on them. I appreciate the fact that 78, once the construction begins, it's almost done virtually. I was going to call you the ninja. You show up, you get the job done, and nobody knows that you were there. I appreciate that. That was fantastic. And because of the experiences that I put in there, for over 4 hours for me to get back from Kennesaw last weekend. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we have Ms. McAloon.